Talk about what makes a good collaborative R&D proposal and how the KTNs can help you. So basically, some of you might be thinking, well, why are the KTNs well placed to do this? So like Callum and Tom were saying, one of our roles, funded by the Technology Strategy Board, is to help people apply for these competitions. And in doing so, we get to see a lot of applications, proofread them, and get to see the feedback coming back as well, and we get to know what works well and what doesn't. So what myself and my colleagues have done is we've summed all those thoughts up today in terms of what we think makes a good proposal, and that's what we're going to talk you through today. So on the screen here are the 6 key things we think all good proposals have. So a strong business case, a credible plan for research and development, the right consortium, a clear need for support, innovation, and alignment to the competition scope. Now I'll talk through the top 5 of those just now in more detail, but if you're interested in knowing if you're aligned with the competition scope, please do come and speak to either myself or one of my colleagues here today later, and we can talk you through that. And if it happens to be the case that you're not in scope with this competition, we usually know what other TSB competitions are coming down the line, and we can say, well actually you don't fit this competition, but you're well placed for this other one in 6 months' time. A little disclaimer at the bottom here as well, the points on these slides are not in the order of the application form, but they're just intended to give you general help in the formulation of good proposals. Just to say as well, don't worry about writing everything down now. We'll give you these slides in due course, and it's also been videoed as well, so you can look back at things in due course. So firstly, fundamental to every project is a strong business case. Now, like Callum was saying, TSB is all about supporting businesses to benefit UK PLC, so every project must have a strong business case. So the first thing you've got to address is what is the need or benefit that this project will address? Secondly, what is the current market like in terms of its size and dynamics? So the things you've got to say there is the UK market is currently worth 2 billion, but within 10 years or 5 years it might have grown to 20 billion. And to talk about that for both domestic markets and any international markets. Next, you've got to talk about how the industry partners profit from success in terms of when and how much, and that's crucial to allow the assessors to quantify the return on investment. So what you're saying there is maybe 3 years after the end of the project, we expect the consortium to have improved profitability of maybe £5 million or £10 million or something like that. And then the assessors can relate that back to the grant. So say you've requested a grant of maybe £1 million, and you've got improved profits of £10 million, you can work out the return on investment. And if the assessor can see the return on investment of different projects, then they can work out the value for money. You've got to describe the route to market as well. And what we're saying there is, if you're saying we're going to sell to farmers in England or something like that, do you have direct contact with those farmers already? How are you going to access those markets? Are you going to have to work with new people? Lastly, as well as talking about the direct benefits for all the partners in the project, what's the wider benefits of the project outside the consortium? So those could be economic, social or environmental. And ideally, quantify those if you can. So it might be something like, okay, this product is going to be adopted by UK dairy farmers, and we think if it's adopted by 10% of those, we'll cut methane emissions in the UK by 5%. Okay, every project must have a credible plan for research and development as well. And it's crucial to remember here, it's all about outcome-focused research. It's not about research for the sake of research. It's all about getting new products and services to market. So always bear that in mind when you're writing your application. And also remember, it's about R&D. It's not just about research. Allow at least some time for development within the project as well, and include a little bit of that. We know you have to do more at the end of the project, but at least do some within the project. Provide sufficient detail to be able to judge the value, quality and feasibility of the technical plan and the value for money. Now we tend to find that this structure here works well for doing that, so what we'd say is split your project up into work packages and describe these in terms of the work package number and name, which partners are involved, the timelines in terms of, say, month 0 to month 12, then describe the activity and then provide a milestone. Now if you use this simple structure, it allows the assessor to say, actually, this person is doing this at this particular time period, and it works quite well. And lastly, provide a clear and simple management structure and plan, and that's really crucial. So that's to allow the assessor to see that as well as having a really good research idea, you've got a really good management structure in place to deliver that project as well. So talk about who's going to lead the project, who's going to be the lead in each of the partners as well, how are all those people going to interact in terms of teleconferences or meetings, and how frequent will those meetings occur. Okay. It's crucial to show you've got the right consortium as well, so you've got to show why you're the right people to deliver this project. Now, horizontal or vertical consortia are both possible, so you might have 2 people in a very similar marketplace, or you might have people right from the farmer to the food processor to the supermarket. Now, both types of consortia are possible. I don't think one's better than the other. And people often ask, is a big consortium better than a small consortium? Again, there's no ideal consortium size. It all depends on the need of the project and you making that project a success. So don't worry about making a big project versus a small one. It's crucial to explain why these partners and what makes this a particularly strong consortium. So you might think everyone's heard of my organisation. They may not have done. So it might be you've got an assessor coming from a different part of the agricultural area. So explain why you're a leading academic or explain why you're leading a particular industry. That's crucial. If there are global markets in mind, explain how these will be accessed. So it's absolutely fine to say we're going to target, say, the Chinese market or the US market, something like that. But how are you going to access those markets? Do you already have links into those markets, or are you going to need to build new relationships to access them? That's crucial to explain those things. Lastly, show how all partners have an active role to play and how each benefits in some way. Now, the crucial thing here is to show that you've got no passengers within your project. So often when we're reviewing draft applications, it's amazing how often you come to the end of the application and you'll see a partner's name mentioned for the first time, and you think, well, hang on, why are they in the project? Why are they getting government funding here? So make sure that everyone's got an active role and their role is detailed throughout the application. Okay, and because this is government funding, you've got to show there's a clear need for government funding support as well. So explain why the project will not go ahead or will be delayed or reduced in scope without TSB funding. Now, the actual wording is, have you explained or justified why you're not funding the project yourselves? And have you explained how the project will be undertaken differently with TSB investment? So there can be good reasons why you can say you're not funding the project yourselves. It might be a small company with a limited R&D budget, or your R&D budget is already committed to existing projects, or it could just be due to the risk involved with the project. They're all credible reasons. And in terms of the second question here, how the project will be undertaken differently with TSB investment. Typically, TSB investment will allow you to undertake the project much more quickly, on a greater scale, involving more partners. So those are all credible reasons. And just at the bottom here, assessors are really looking for a realistic prospect of success, but sufficient uncertainty. There's still need for research and development. So they're not expecting guaranteed winners, but they do want a credible chance of success. And that brings us on to risk. So it's really crucial to consider risk. So you might think, well, hang on, I should write my application and show that there's zero risk in this project. That's completely wrong. So actually, the assessors are looking for risk. So if there's no risk in the project, the assessor will think, well, actually, industry should fund this themselves. So you've got to show what risks there are. And that's reflected in the statement from the TSB here. Funders recognise that projects of this type are inherently risky, but just seek assurances that projects have adequate arrangements for managing this risk. So just be clear up front and state these risks, but then explain how you're going to mitigate them. And what you should do is you should list risks in terms of technical, commercial, managerial and environmental risks. And what we would advise you to do for that question, split the risks out into those subheadings and actually list maybe 1, 2 or 3 risks for each of those. And when you describe the risks, it's good to use the format here. State the risk, give it a rating in terms of high, medium and low, and then explain how you're going to mitigate that risk. Lastly, also state how you're going to manage the risk in terms of which risk management tools you're going to use. Are you going to have a risk register? Are you going to use any project management software which will help with those things? Another thing which is really crucial to all applications is innovation. All projects must involve significant innovation. So if you see the TSB stop line, you can read it there. So it's called driving innovation. So that's crucial. So you've got to show how your project is commercially or scientifically innovative. And it's no good just saying my project is innovative. You've got to provide evidence to support this as well. So you've got to give the results of patent searches, competitor analyses, and literature surveys. Now, obviously, in an expression of interest application, you've got a short amount of space. You can't list all of those things in great detail, but you can certainly summarise them. And then when you're putting a full stage application in, I would recommend putting all of those things within the appendices. As well as talking about other people's IP, detail the current IP within the consortium, so what IP you've got already, and also your strategy for protecting any new IP you're going to generate. In terms of general tips for applications, like Callum said, agree the key points of the collaboration agreement as soon as possible. So it's amazing how many applications will sometimes collapse after they've been successful and been through the application process because people can't agree on IP. So even if you don't have a full agreement, at least have agreement in principle, have some email dialogue and things like that. Like Callum was also saying, be clear, concise and realistic. You've got limited space and the assessors have got a lot of applications to look at, so be crystal clear and be write concisely. Don't assume that assessors are experts in your subject area. And what I mean here is, They might not know about agriculture in general, but they might not know about your particular field. So don't use acronyms or technical terms that they might not have heard of. Provide evidence to back up your claims wherever possible. So if you're talking about market data or patent searching and things, reference these wherever possible. Next, explain the financing. So that's crucial. You'll be asked to give a finance summary table, but it's also important to actually explain that in more detail. So if you're saying, partner A is getting £500,000, what has that money been spent on? So how much has been spent on labour, how much has been spent on equipment or consumables, things like that. So break that down for every partner, and if you really couldn't have time to do so, you can actually break that down by work package as well. Check all the deadlines as well, that's really important. So, like Callum was saying, there's a deadline to submit your application. There's also actually a deadline to register for the competition 1 week before that. So what we always advise, if you're at all interested in applying for these competitions, just sign up right now and register for the competition, even if you're not going to apply later on. Start discussing, planning and writing ASAP. So if you take one thing away today, I would say start doing that as soon as possible. 99 times out of 100, the best applications we see are the ones that have been written the soonest. So you can never start too early. All the guide to applicants are available now, so you can actually start right away. Don't leave it too late to ask questions to submit. Now that's only not asking questions of TSB or ourselves if you want an advice, but also of your own partners. So if you're working with big companies and you've got to go and get, for example, finance information from the finance department, that can all take quite a lot of time. Lastly, write a proposal that excites and inspires, and you might think, well, what do I mean there? Well, basically, there's going to be a lot of applications for this competition, you've got to make yours stand out. So you've got to really get the point across about how your technology is going to change an industry or how it's going to be a revolutionary new technology, and get those things across. Just to quickly finish off, I'm going to tell you how the KTNs can help you, and apologies for the buzzwords, but we're funded by government to connect and catalyse innovation. And what that means in terms of these competitions, how we can help you. So we can certainly provide advice on the project scope and eligibility criteria. So you might want to know, does my project really fit well with this competition? Is this particular partner eligible for this competition? How much funding can we receive? All those kind of things. We're happy to do that. You can always just pick up the phone or drop us an email or speak to us today. One of the biggest ways we can help you though is in terms of identifying potential partners to work with, be it industry or academics. So within the Biosciences KTN network, we've got 5,000 individual members who are working and applying biosciences knowledge to benefit the agri-food industry in the UK. So we've got a massive network. A really big way we can help you though is by reviewing draft proposals and providing advice there. So as long as you've sent us your application well in advance of the deadline, we can provide you with feedback. So when we do this, people in the room who've helped before will hopefully say that we really do help their applications and strengthen them. So if you want to do that, just get in touch with me and my colleagues, and usually we need to receive it maybe 1 week before the deadline. So just to show the impact we've had on some previous TSB competitions where we've helped people. So there's a lot of different TSB competitions every year, but just one competition at the top here, which was last year, a recent competition. We helped 11 different consortia obtain funding in that competition, and that was a total of 39 different partners. So that was just one competition. And this is a quote at the bottom here from a happy customer just the other week, and you might think I just made it this morning, but it's a genuine quote. And as you can see, he was very happy with the support he received, and hopefully that application will be successful. Just to finish off, if you're not already signed up with our website, please do sign up to access relevant information. We send out email alerts about the competition and to help you with those kind of things. One of the big ways we can help you with this competition is though, we're going to have a capability database on there. So basically what we're going to do is, in your booklet you've got a handout that shows all the capabilities requested or offered by other people. We're going to put those all online, and what we'll also do is we'll put on the equivalent information from the other 3 events which are going ahead. So you'll be able to search that database not only for everyone in this workshop here today, but also the Belfast, Cardiff and Peterborough workshop. So you'll have 4 times as many people to potentially work with. We'll send you links to all of those in due course, but basically it's on our website here. These are all the people who can help you within the KTN, but I'd just like to flag up Serena Broadway, who's done a lot of the organisation today. She's not here today, unfortunately, but she's done a lot of help. It's good contact. But we've got Amy Taylor here from the Industrial Bioscience team, Bales, to hand up. We've got Aurora, who's working the camera here as well, if you're interested in plant projects. Kezia and myself from the animal team. So Kezia's just there, was on the registration desk earlier, so please do speak to us or get in touch with you, of course. So that's our sponsors. I'd like to thank those as well, but